Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Dog Pound Nation. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the morning rant. They did it. The Cleveland Browns have hired their new defensive coordinator yesterday. So, let's talk about it.
Here we go, Brownies, here we go. Here we go, Brownies, here we go.
What up, YouTube? Thanks for staying tuned in. Welcome back to this morning rant. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to break down the hire of the new defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, JIM SCHWARTZ. But before we get into all that, and you're stopping by for the very first time from a Browns fan to another, please join the family, join Dog Pound Nation, subscribe, like, and hit that bell. So please join the family, new channel. I can't do this without you. And please hit that like and subscribe. So let's get into this. I'm stoked. I first want to apologize. Please bear with me. The lighting in this video is terrible. So the bulbs, I don't know what's going on. It's not good this morning. Those bulbs are shot. So I'm pretty much working with some lamps. Don't have the main lighting going on. So please, my apologies. So please bear with me. All right, so we're going to break this down. We, the Cleveland Browns, have hired defensive coordinator JIM SCHWARTZ. He's got quite the resume. He's got 30 years in the NFL. Mainly nothing but success with this guy. So we're going to break this all down. All right, Jimmy SCHWARTZ, he's 56 years of age. And like I already mentioned, he's 30 years in the league. He started his career as a scout and none other than with the Cleveland Browns under Bill Belichick back in the day. All right, back in the day when Bill Belichick was here, he was a scout under him. So awesome. I love this hire. I will say that. I did like the other candidates as well, but as in Brian Flores, he was pretty much the other candidate, that only one that I would have hired. But I honestly, I like I've mentioned before, I don't like his scheme. I think that his scheme in Cleveland is not the right scheme to be running, especially having a guy like Myles Garrett. And I don't think Myles would be jacking that. Using Myles he wouldn't. You're pretty much wasting a solid pass rusher in his prime, one of the best in the league, and having running a 3-4 with Myles Garrett, just I don't think would be that good. So this is why I like this hire, and plus Jim SCHWARTZ, he's a no bullshit guy. He ain't gonna put up with shit, and this is what that team needs. And another thing is too, the defense that SCHWARTZ runs, wide 9, I think is gonna benefit none other than Myles Garrett to no end, because in wide 9, your edge rushers, they line up a little bit more on the outside, which gives them a better advantage to make the move to get to the quarterback than as in a traditional, how they line up. So that's the other thing I like about this. I think you're going to see Myles Garrett have a little bit more sacks. And the other big thing about this wide 9 defense, it all starts in the trenches when it comes to Jimmy SCHWARTZ. He loves stopping the run. So you know what that's going to bring? A solid defensive tackle, something that the Cleveland Browns have lacked since AB has been here. For whatever reason, he's always been against bringing in top defensive tackle position, the whole thing with the analytics, whatever. So I think that he has finally learned that you need a solid defensive tackle, and that's a plus. And the other thing is, too, we're going to get into this a little bit about Jimmy SCHWARTZ. As we all know, he, took over for Woods. He's had, SCHWARTZ is, one of the 4 individuals, as we already mentioned. Sean Desai was the last, candidate that was interviewed by the Browns. And the night before SCHWARTZ was hired, because SCHWARTZ was hired yesterday, the night before that, it all sounded like Sean Desai was going to be the guy, which supposedly, I don't know much about this guy, but he's supposed genius, good teacher. He does have, a lot, of respect from coaches in the league. And so it sounded like they were going to go that route, but thank God they pulled out if they were going to, because I think, they probably looked at the bigger picture and said, listen, we need somebody in here to, that's done this. All right, and we'll bring structure and discipline to this team, because this is what this team needed all along. And that's the other thing. I'm done with the experimenting with unproven coordinators coming in. I'm just over that. So I'm glad they made this. They made the right hire. And the Browns will be the fourth time Schwartz has been a defensive coordinator with the Browns this time around. Also, he held jobs for the Tennessee Titans from 2021 to 2008, and he had a lot of success as a defensive coordinator. He left Tennessee, as a solid DC and was hired by the Buffalo Bills in 2014 as another, stint, 1 year stint with Buffalo as a coordinator. And if you remember, going back when he was the DC for the Bills, you had Kyle Williams as a D tackle, and you had Jerry Hughes. All right, double-digit sacks for both D tackles that year. Double-digit sacks for D tackles. So can you only imagine what Schwartz can bring to this Browns defense? It's going to be amazing, and I'm a firm believer in that. So yeah, he built that defense up because Doug Marrone was the Bills' head coach at the time, and he ended up walking. So you all know what happens when the head coach either gets fired or walks. The DCs usually, or DC and OC usually do as well. I know a lot of Bills fans that were that I spoke with last night that were very, very upset losing Schwartz. Because, he had them as a top 3 defense that year, or I think they led the league, to be honest with you, from what I've heard. So, yeah, he also, as soon as he left Buffalo, he went to the Philadelphia Eagles from 2006. He took a year off, then went to the Eagles from 2016 to 2020, and that's when he built a Super Bowl defense with those Eagles. Remember that? The Eagles, when they went to the Super Bowl, how stout that defense was? Yeah, that was Jimmy Schwartz. So just think what this can be here. And then also Schwartz, he was the head coach of the Detroit Lions. We all know that from 2009 to 2013. And that's where he had a lot of success as well as a head coach. And then it kind of fell apart towards the end where, things started sliding downhill. And I don't put that all on Schwartz. You got to think about who he was coaching. It was, the team of the Detroit Lions where they've always, had an issue bringing in maximum talent. Detroit has been one of them teams that did not like to bring in a lot of talent. They always like to work off, players they drafted, try to develop their own players, and it just didn't work because they didn't draft well, and Schwartz only had so much to work with, so I don't blame him. I think if he had, the proper talent there in Detroit, I think he would have, been a head coach for a long period of time. So that's that. He did bring Detroit to the playoffs. So I forgot to mention that 2011 NFC wildcard game. He ended up bringing them. They ended up losing, obviously, but he did bring the Lions to the playoffs. So that's a plus, And as we know, Schwartz, he's in a 4-3 wide 9. I already mentioned that. And that's the other thing too. Joe Woods, when he was here, he loved to run zone. All right, Schwartz, he loves to run man. So that is a thumbs up. I think running man with Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, and you got our Greg Newsome. These boys, they are lockdown corners. We seen it. So I think running a lot more man is what this team needs. All right, so that's plus. Man-to-man coverage could be a benefit to the Browns secondary, where they boast a Pro Bowl caliber #1 corner in Denzel Ward, and 2 solid corners, both first and year 3, Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson, like I just mentioned. So, this is awesome. This is awesome. I love this hire. I'm stoked. And you got, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. A success of Schwartz's wide 9 front look is defensive tackles. That's the golden ticket right there. And look at the defensive tackles that he has coached over the years as a DC. Albert Hainsworth, Fletcher Cox, Sue. The list goes on. The guy is all about bringing in a top stud DT. So let's have a lot of hope here, guys. I am stoked, as you can, maybe you can't tell. This was the hire that I really wanted. And the defensive tackles that we have on this roster right now, Tavion Bryant, he's going to be gone. Togiai, sorry, he's going to be gone. He's just been awful. You just don't even see anything there. I do think Perion Winfrey and Jordan Elliott are going to be here. The only DTs going to be left on this roster. And those are going to be rotational guys, depth guys. I think Perion Winfrey, I think he's going to mold himself into a decent defensive tackle. Honestly, I'm a firm believer in that. I think if he can pull his head out of his ass and get on his grind, I think he can be a good D tackle in this league. And maybe eventually become a starter. Who knows? Because look who you got coaching now. Dude's a stud. And I don't know if I've already mentioned, but these Jimmy Schwartz, what was this? I heard it the other day, and out of the 12 years of being involved in running a defense, 10 out of those 12 years, his defense has finished in the top half of the league. All right, now 6 out of those 12 years, his defense has been a top 10 defense. Think about that. Doesn't that give you guys a little excitement? All right, I'm stoked over this. I'm stoked because we finally have a proven guy on this staff, as a defensive coordinator, and it's gonna only get better, and Jim Schwartz is not gonna put his head down. And, he's going to open up his mouth and he's going to tell them what he wants. He's going to let AB, this is what I need, this is what we got to do, and he's going to get it done. All right, I'm a firm believer in that. So let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this hire with Jim Schwartz. Do you like his scheme? What do you think needs to be done? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know. And if I forgot to mention something, please leave in the comments down below. But I got to get to work, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And, and got another video coming up. And another couple of days here. I'm also going to put a poll out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And, I'm excited. We got good things. Good things are about to happen. Just stay patient, as we've always done as Cleveland Browns fans. And, good things. I think we got a great future ahead, with this hire. Joe Woods, he's probably a decent guy, but he just does not fit what we need. We need a guy like Jim Schwartz in this defense that is no bullshit, brings discipline, structure, and, you're not going to see those breakdowns like we've seen before. By any means, and that's the other thing too. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but you got Kevin Stefanski as our head coach, all right. And when Joe Woods was here, he pretty much had to look over his shoulder, pretty much babysit. He doesn't have to do that with Schwartz. Now Stefanski can focus on Deshaun Watson, get this offense going, and Schwartz can do his thing. Doesn't got to babysit, so that's huge if you ask me. So I just wanted to put that last bit in there. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And again, guys, if you're new, please subscribe. Browns fan new another. Subscribe, hit that like, and you know what it is. Go Browns!